So you are seeing the screen right now? We good?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Well, quick introduction, like you just mentioned earlier, I'm Francois Reimnitz, head of UX UI at Cirque du Soleil. Lately, greatly in part because of the pandemic, I had time to sit down, reflect, and try to refresh my very own portfolio. And as I was doing this, I was taking notes of steps, key elements, tips and tricks that to me were really important. And I was like, oh, why not put all of that together in a deck that could be shared eventually to some people. And thanks to Megan who reached out to me. Timing was perfect. You guys were actually packaging a portfolio review, so here I am. I have roughly around 10 tips and tricks that I will be sharing with you today. Obviously, some of that is going to be pretty simple and straightforward, but I mean, hopefully you guys can absorb all of this and learn. And if there's anything, please feel free to ask your questions and reach out to me on LinkedIn. It will be my pleasure to try to contribute to the community. So let's jump right into it. First thing, well, I believe that really helped me out in the process was the organization. To consider producing like a timeline with rough estimates of the different steps you want to accomplish throughout this process is absolutely valuable because it keeps you organized. You'll be very well aware of all the work that needs to be done, and I mean that's it. Following that organization step would be inspire yourself, look around even prior to starting to design, to try to think of what you want to do, how do you want to say it, just to scan the internet. I mean, look at your favorite design sources is really going to help you out to really understand what's currently being done in the market and how do you compare to other UX UI designers, because at first when you're starting, I mean, sometimes it can be hard to know where you can position yourself, but that is going to give you a definitively clearer picture of all of this. And even by doing this, you're going to be able to assemble a lot of material such as references, mood boards, that will definitely come handy when you start designing. And also something that I would like to put a lot of emphasis on is participate in the UX UI conversation. I mean, pretty much like you guys are currently doing right now by assisting to this really great talk. I mean, you're going to initiate conversations, you got to share information, you're going to get feedback from others. I mean, that's probably like the best way to learn how to navigate within this universe. And also join groups, chats, forums. I mean, whatever you can find online. There are so many great tools you can, subscribe to, get news from. I strongly suggest to just look around, participate in all of those, and you'll be able to, get some more content and more tips and tricks in that way. Okay, preparation. Obviously, when it comes down to the portfolio you're going to be wanting to build, you're going to have to ask yourself a lot of questions. And this is, if you want answers, you basically have to ask the questions first. So, what are your objectives? Who are you trying to reach? Why are you trying to reach them? What represents you best? And by asking those questions, you might be able to find some insights that's going to drive the whole, project. So I strongly suggest that, you take a little time or period, or even through time. I mean, just by noting questions you might have at some time and researching and finding those answers is going to be really helpful. Following, well, at some point, eventually you'll have to sort of define the specifications, the format, or how you're going to package all of that information. And, there are various ways for you to actually do this. I mean, and I listed a bunch right here, such as, are you going to do a website? Is it going to be interactive? Is it going to be mobile first? Do you just want to do like a slideshow or a prototype, or even just package like a PDF slide with all the information packaged in? And I guess that by asking the questions we talked earlier on the previous slides is going to help you, define what is going to be best, depending on, who you are, what you want to be, and who you want to reach. Because all of those solutions are good, but you just need to figure out specifically what you're going to do, because I know that creating a portfolio is a lot of work, and you wouldn't want necessarily like midway having to, change all of your plans just because you didn't think things through at first. So obviously this is only just a recommendation, but if you can keep that in mind while doing it, of course it's gonna help. Also, which is probably like the hardest part of doing your portfolio, because sometimes people often forget that yes, you're putting all of your work together, but it's all about yourself. It's all about your skills, your interests. So I really need to highlight the fact that try to know yourself, who you are, like I said, who you want to be, what are your skills and interests, because that will certainly define, what you're going to be doing next. And an example of that is I was in touch with a UX UI designer recently, and he sent me his portfolio. So I had the chance to go through all of that, and having a conversation with him, we sort of both realized that he was definitely more into UX than UI. And it felt like he was a little bit shy of, getting rid of the UI part of it, because it felt like that in the community these days, if you're not doing UI, you're not doing it right. But, I was like, follow your instincts, be authentic and genuine, follow yourself. If you want to do UX, focus on that and get rid of the rest. And that's how you're going to succeed. And do not hesitate, taking notes as you go, because some of the time people will often give you tips on, who you are, what are your skills, and it's super great. I've been doing that for myself. Like from the past year, I've been, noting everything. And because I had all of that information in one place, I was able to actually be very aware of who I am and what I want to be. So. And all of that is going to lead to self-promotion. Obviously, portfolio, like I mentioned earlier, is your work, but it's something that you're going to use to put yourself in the spotlight. Focus on your strength. So do not be shy to just put yourself, well, like I said, in the spotlight, but to show your better side, and because no one else is going to do it for you. And I mean, by doing a portfolio, this is the best opportunity you can have to actually define your career path and do something great. So think about yourself, what you want to do, what you want to make, focus on that, and be authentic and genuine in the sense that follow your instincts, because no one will ever be able to tell that for you. Next step, distribution. And what I mean by that is try to keep things balanced. It's, especially when you're a designer and you tend to be interested in the UI part of things, you like to sometimes overdo things or like spend a lot of time crafting, which might not be super useful in that case. So try not to overdo it. I mean, the portfolio is going to act as a support for your work. So it should be a super nice, clear, clean structure. But in my opinion, let the work do the talking, this is always going to come out on top on everybody's list just because, you want to have the work to be the star of this exercise. And, choose quality over quantity. Typically, people who go above 10 projects, not super good. I mean, some of the people would come see me, would talk to some of the colleagues I have, some people who I've talked recently. Some of them did not even have a portfolio, and that worked out really well for them as well. So you really have to, select carefully, like curate whatever feels like it's the best according to what you want to do, and you know, do not hesitate to put 3 like case studies if you feel that's, you know, the best way to promote yourself. Like I mentioned, quality over quantity, definitely. And then as you go along, stay open, you know, leave room for improvements, adapt yourselves to the situation. You will figure things along the way, even though you're super organized and you want to plan everything. You might change idea, you might find a better idea. So allow yourself to actually change your mind. It's going to be super beneficial. And you know, it's like pretty much when you're developing a real project and a real business, I mean, you really got to adapt, and trying to enjoy every step of that process is going to be super great for you, even though sometimes it can be really hard because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, trying to define yourself, your work, and what you want to do, you know, is can be sometimes really hard. But like putting the work and the effort is going to be rewarding in the long run. So, and whoever would ask the question, you know, when should I start? Well, I mean, ideally, starting now would be the best answer. Obviously, depending on your personality, I mean, you could wait. You could, you know, wait a couple of years, try to find good projects and then package all of them together at once, but that's going to require a lot more effort just to manage all of that information, to crunch it, organize it, design it. So by at least trying to organize yourself, just by doing it like a timeline, is going to help you out to, you know, just keep that idea in mind that everything you're doing has to be part of that book. And then you're going to organize your things in a simpler way according to, you know, how you want to do that in the portfolio. So that's definitely going to be my main recommendation. I mean, do not wait, do not hesitate. And it could be a continuous exercise, but as long as you're putting some effort, it's going to work well. So please, people, try to start as early as possible if you can. And then while creating, I mean, here are some really basic tips, but very, very helpful. Obviously, use the right tools. This is not an ad, but I love AdobeXD so much simply because, you know, you can do your wireframing, early designs, and final versions, as long as animations, prototyping, and even sharing that to the people. So that comes in very handy. I mean, it could be anything else, but just keep that in mind that you want to facilitate yourself in the process. And there are so many great tools that exist that you can pick, that, you know, you have a wide variety to choose from. So I would do so. Keep all versions, only because you don't know if you're going to want to revert back to another version or just select another thing that you've done previously. It's a very like organic process. So just, you know, for yourself, for the sake of the quality of the portfolio, it always helps to have more content to play with at any time. And also more files means more chaos. So keeping all of that organized is going to be great as well. So different type of versions, etc., etc. And when it comes down to facilitate yourself, or the process is to standardize. I mean, I've seen very often people who are trying to nail down like the best design portfolio by customizing everything. And to me, it was in some ways like a mistake that you shouldn't do, because there is, you know, a way to package and organize the content in different templates that could be replicated and make your life way much more easier. I mean, you could have like a homepage, a portfolio page, and then a project page, which is plenty enough for people to actually, you know, understand how skilled you are in terms of design and UX. And also, like I said, ease the process and ease all of that for yourself, because, you know, if you start customizing everything, you won't be done. And pretty much like all of our colleagues and even myself, you know, you don't want to end up not finishing your portfolio. because that happens too often in the business. And also backup often, just save everything and make copies. You never know. You've got the cloud, you've got hard drives. Use everything that's at your disposal to make this a success. Okay, so let's say that you've all done the research, the creative. Now it comes down to the application and the interview. A couple of things. First, submit a complete and detailed application. Avoid mistakes. Make sure you've got your cover letter, your portfolio, and all the informations for the people to contact yourself in. Unfortunately, that happens too often where, you know, can't find the portfolio, can't find the phone number or the email, cannot contact the person. So, you know, that's very sad, because I can see sometimes that a lot of people are putting lots of effort into doing this, and to fail at that point is like not finishing a marathon just by a kilometer. So really make sure that through all the process, you know, it's always complete. The links are not broken, it works fine, everything is complete, and you should do fine. If ever the interview is sort of stressing you out, think of it as a conversation. It's like a little chat over a coffee or tea or something. Make it easy on yourself. And basically, that's what it is. I mean, people just want to know who you are, what you're capable of. So don't stress over that, and try to envision this as, you know, daily life. This is something that really helped me out a lot when I was in the process of applying on jobs. And if that's helpful for you, then I'll be happy. And like I mentioned earlier too, like, show your dedication without hesitation. I mean, we're talking about yourself, your work. No one is gonna try to sell all of that to other people for you. Do not be shy. You know, this is your opportunity to shine, especially at this point. If you've done the portfolio and you're happy with it, you know, you should be proud and share this with the community, and, you know, try to get the most positive response as you can. And also, ultimately, you know, use clear communication when talking to people. You know, just like as myself, trying to speak in English might make things a little bit complicated as of now, but I'm doing the best effort I can to actually talk to you and make myself clear enough. So make sure that the people you're talking to are understanding clearly, and, you know, ask questions if it's not clear. This is going to help clarify a lot of things and make sure you're on the same page, basically. And well, that was it. And also, I would invite you just to look at, you know, you probably know Unsplash, but all the visuals from this deck have been, you know, downloaded from that website. It's not an ad. I mean, all of their visuals are free and they're pretty damn amazing. And I've also been using the AdobeXD font by the Pangram Foundry here in Montreal, and these guys are amazing. If you ever want to have like a starter kit font for like a couple of bucks, these guys have the most designed and beautiful fonts you could find. So I invite you to go check them out. So thank you. That was it for the early presentation. Maybe if we want to transition into the next part, I've selected 5 online portfolios that can be used as good examples of what you could do. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. So first one, obviously I don't know these guys, but I do believe that their work is pretty amazing and outstanding, and for different reasons. This first one being simplicity. When I was talking about, you know, try to balance things out. Yep.
We cannot see the portfolio. We can still see your presentation.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna try to switch.
And one more question: that are you going to share your slides can we share it with the
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I can, yeah, if you guys want to have access to that file, I'm definitely going to be able to share this with you guys. Okay. Absolutely. Whatever way you want, I'll make it happen.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I can share it with the participants later. So yeah, I just want to get a confirmation from you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so are we good with the website? It's a green website.
Yes, we can see now.
Perfect, absolutely. So this first one, like I was talking about, is pretty simple, but this is exactly what I like about this one is the simplicity of things. I mean, too often when working in the UX UI environment, we want to nail down like the most crazy animated project so we can impress everybody. But, you know, sometimes just to make things good is as good as any other thing. And, you know, the grid is clean. You know, you've got the project listed right there. It's very visual. You've got the proper information and content related to each of those projects, you know, just the title, description, and what's been done for each of them. So as you can see, it's really simple, but super, super effective. And especially because, you know, he added, you know, his contacts on social media platforms and even emails and everything. So to me, that was a win. And this, especially when it comes down to the mobile versions, super easy to rework and resize and ensure that you have a mobile presence, because a lot of people are going to be probably viewing your portfolios on the go. So that's always a plus to think about. Second, website. I selected this one because of the interactions. You might not have the luxury of building a website that's, you know, that's well developed and that's much well done. But I mean, look at this. The hover effects on every projects are super cool. And it's a very simple trick, but it really stands out, you know, because let's say when you're evaluating a bunch of portfolios every day, I mean, this might be the thing that makes you, you know, deselected or, yeah. And as you click too on the projects, I mean, obviously this is super cool, but the content organization is very well done. So short description, link to the website, date of realization, super nice visual gallery. And yet again, it's also very simple and modest, but the level of complexity for that project comes down to, you know, the animation. So if you know any developer or if you have programming skills yourself, I mean, I'd be glad for you. If not, like I mentioned, AdobeXD enables you to build prototypes within the app. So that could be another solution. The third one, I like the grid about this one. So very simple, but although, you know, very, very original and unusual. I mean, with the vertical navigation, as you scroll down, every element just, you know, sort of slides in, slide out. With the content reveal animation too, that, you know, really makes a difference. I have to say that even for myself, you know, I've never had a portfolio that looked this good or that behaved, you know, like that ever. And I guess it's a wish and a dream for every one of all of us. But, you know, it's even though if you're just looking at it as an inspiration source, there are key elements you can extract from that and that you can integrate into your own and that are going to make a difference. I mean, this is gorgeous. Oopsie, just give me a sec. Let's go to the fourth one. Okay, this one has been selected specifically for the content. I mean, we are most of the time visual people, user experience focused. There's something that sometimes some people tend to forget, and is content. You really want to try to have your portfolio to be self-explanatory, like, because, you know, you're gonna share that piece with people with whom you're not gonna be sitting with whenever they're gonna watch it. So try to be clear, try to, you know, choose your word carefully, use meaningful sentences and titles. It will help you out, just simply because, you know, it will be a display of how you can rationalize content and text in general. I mean, your thought process will definitely be recognizable while they go through the website. So, I mean, that was a really good example for me in based on that. I mean, I love reading about the projects. I love understanding why, and this is, you know, key element when it comes down to the fact that you're doing your portfolio. And the last one basically was selected for style, even though this is not something I would personally, you know, use or design. And there are a lot of, you know, elements and animations, but you know, you can do anything as long as you are happy and satisfied with your work. Is it, you know, it's gonna work out. And as you can see, and hopefully the animations are very fluid overseas via Zoom. But I mean, it's almost hard to understand what's going on, but you know, it's looking so cool and so great. And just by looking at it, you know, we can tell that that person knows design and even, you know, experience design. So by having the piece to, you know, be integrated with the content is, you know, a great way to do things. And like I said earlier, I mean, we're all different. Choose the way you want to approach it. I mean, they're all good. As long as you're satisfied, you know, you should be in a good position. Cool. So that was it.
Thank you. That was so great and inspiring. Really great. Thank you.